So I'm talking to John Swaney from Tompkins County, New York, about a encounter he had with a creature in the area known as Connecticut Hill in the western part of Tompkins County. So, John, when was this encounter?
It was on December 8, 2013.
And you mentioned it was on Connecticut Hill. Where exactly was this encounter at up there?
It was off of Leonard Road, and where it actually branches off, or not Leonard Road, Van Loon Road, and it kind of branches off to Leonard Road. It eventually turns into Leonard Road.
Right.
Maybe half a mile off of Van Loon Road itself.
Okay. Now, describe the creature that you said you saw that day.
Well, judging by the branch that I saw it go under and going back to that spot and measuring, I have to come up with the creature was at least 9 foot tall. I've had people tell me, that it can't be, but it had to duck down a little bit to get under that branch.
Right.
And that branch, the branch itself sat, at 8'2", so 8'4", and it ducked down, and now you got the crust on its head. It had to duck down quite a bit.
Right.
So give or take, I'm guessing right about 9 foot, maybe a little less, but right around 9 foot tall.
What would you estimate its width at the shoulder?
The width of the shoulder, I would guesstimate it. Like I said, I got a side profile of it. However, when it was turned and looked behind it, see if my buddy was coming up behind it, the whole shoulder would turn. So if I had to judge it, I'd say at least 4 foot wide.
Okay.
Between 3.5, 4 foot wide. This thing was enormous. Enormous.
Right. What color was it?
He was a solid charcoal black. Kind of, literally, I could see almost like a shine to it. This thing was very clean.
Right.
And you could see the muscle mass to it. The hair, it wasn't long hair. It was short hair. Best I can describe it, almost to a T, is Patty.
Right.
From the Gimlin footage.
Right.
Now, that's the Patterson-Gimlin footage.
Right. What time of day was this?
It was about 8 o'clock in the morning. It was about an hour after daylight, an hour to an hour and a half, being that he had to walk back out and circle back up around the brush thicket before he started pushing it.
Right.
So it was I would say between 8:30 and 9.
Okay. How long of a time period did you see this creature?
I would say no more than 15 seconds. And it covered a lot of ground in between. Something that you and I would cover in 2 to 3 minutes. It didn't run. It was walking.
Right.
And it covered that ground. So, the steps that it had to have been taking, there had to have been, 4 or 5 foot, difference in the stride. So, this thing was enormous.
Right.
And, I can't describe it other than, the Patterson-Gimlin footage. I never got a look at the face.
Right.
And, which is the most disappointing part of it. Because now I want to know what the face looks like. It's eating at me. And, I get to look at Patty, thank God. And, I can kind of imagine what it looked like. But, so I don't know whether the face was hair covered. From what I could tell, at least, to the cheek, the cheek was covered.
Right.
Now, again, I did not see the actual face. I can tell you what I saw as far as side profile.
Right. So,
and even when it turned to look behind it, I still couldn't see the face. I could see the right cheekbone, but I couldn't see beyond that. And, this thing was within 100 yards away from me through, hardwood, but it's pretty clear through the hardwood section, going from one thicket through the hardwoods to another thicket.
Right.
And the distance between the two thickets is about 75 yards.
Right. Now, you mentioned before that there was a couple of people there. How many people saw the creature?
Just myself, and Alan caught a quick glimpse of it. He thought it was a bear.
Right.
When he kicked it up in the thicket. Now, mind you, in a pine thicket, there was, and this is another thing I regret. But I was too scared to. I was not about to go look in the snow, because there was snow on the ground.
Right.
However, in a pine thicket, there was only a little bit of snow on the ground, maybe at the most an inch.
Right. So
in the pine thicket, there was no snow.
Right. Did you see any tracks or anything, or?
No, I didn't even go look for them.
Right.
I just wanted out of there. I knew what I saw at that point, and I just wanted to get out of there.
Okay.
I left my equipment behind. I left $200 worth of hunting equipment behind.
Right.
A chair blind, a spotlight that I used to get out there, and so I wasn't wasting any time. I wanted out of there.
Right. You mentioned you heard some sounds. What were those sounds that you heard?
The sounds that I heard was it walking. I heard it crash through the thicket. It wasn't more or less a crashing. It was as if you're walking through something and you're trying to get through there quickly and pushing stuff out of the way. I could hear twigs breaking. When it came out, it's kind of sitting down just below a knoll. All I could see the upper body right down to about mid-thigh. And as it was walking, you could hear this kind of a whoosh, whoosh. But, again, that little knoll would have affected what I was hearing.
Right, kind of like the sound of walking through frozen grass, or?
I didn't hear more or less a thud. It was more like a whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Yeah.
Okay. Right.
As if you were going through frozen grass.
Yeah.
And, like a soil patch, or more or less. And, granted, there's frozen leaves on the ground that are snow covered.
Right.
So, an inch of snow, it's still going to hold down some sound. But, it within 100 yards, I could still hear it clearly as far as the swooshing part. And, yeah, it's kind of hard to describe. And I guess the best way to describe it would be a swooshing sound. And, yeah, it did kind of have, it was a solid sound. It wasn't as if it was just straight swoosh. You could hear something else to it.
Right.
And mainly, I guess where I'm getting to with it, you could hear the weight of it.
Right.
But a lot of people described that they could hear it going boom, boom, boom. I didn't hear so much of that. It was drowned out. I believe that kind of noise would have been there had it been, walking in front of me instead of being down like a little knoll.
Right. Now you've mentioned earlier that when we were talking about this cause, you started researching. How long have you been researching now?
I have been researching since December 8th, 2013. As soon as I got home that day, I started researching.
Right. Now, you mentioned you've been out there 3 other times to do investigations?
Yeah, I've been actually out there a little bit more than that. 'Cause, I mean, any given chance that I have to get away from, I'm a single dad. So it's really hard to get away with 2 children, 5 and 8. I just don't have much free time.
Right.
So when I do get it, I like to take off for the woods. I'm an avid outdoorsman.
Right. So
very familiar with the woods, especially around here.
Right.
Now, I'm born and raised around here.
Right. The other times you've been out, how many other experiences have you had?
We found the track. I found the track. My first set of tracks, I was solo, and so that was one time. Then I went back out with John, my partner, and he found tracks. So that was twice. And then we went out the night that we got the vocalization. That all that happened the same night. We heard one set of vocalization downhill from us, and it was responding to us. It was responding to a call. I had let out a blood-curdling scream, an aggressive scream at that, and immediately after that, I got a response.
And that was also the same night you got the wood knocks, correct?
No, that was not the same night.
Oh, okay.
The wood knock was on December 8th.
Oh, okay.
The morning of the sighting.
Oh, okay, that's right. You did mention that.
We heard the tree being, we're talking branches, guesstimating. Again, I'm very familiar with snapping branches. I used to work for a guy that, he was a logger. He did tree work, trimming trees. So, I'm on top of that, I'm a country boy. When you hear a tree branch break,
right,
you can pretty much guess how big it is.
So you've been out with your partner a few times now, and you guys have started your own website, and you said you had some pictures that were on the website.
Oh, yes.
What's the name of the website?
It's Bigfoot, UFO Society. And I definitely will be sending you an invitation.
Send me the link and the pictures.
Yeah, that's not a problem.
But, so please send me shoot me an email. My email is Leon. Send me an email. I'll have your email, and I can add you to my email address book. And the pictures that you got on your phone, I'd really like to see them. I understand if you don't want to share those on the website. That's cool. People do that with me pretty regular.
You've got my permission to do whatever you want.
All right, appreciate that.
I just want people to, I want to educate people.
Yep. Oh, that's what we all want. I really appreciate you taking all this time, man. It's cool, and it's really neat to hear somebody having an experience like I've had, 10 miles from where I lived and grew up.